Mr President, I rise to speak in support of this motion, and I thank the Honourable Emily Savile for bringing this motion to the House. Domestic violence does require a whole-of-government and a whole-of-community response, and we should be prepared to look at all of the drivers of violence against women and act to eliminate them. We know that domestic violence is an issue which cannot be solved with one simple announcement or one simple package, and I recognise the work done by the Coalition Government and the efforts of the present government. There are many root causes of domestic violence, and we have to address each of these to protect women and children and ensure family safety. Nothing should be off the table, including the impact of pornography on forming attitudes about women and indeed attitudes of women. Every partner I've had has watched some form of porn that makes me feel uncomfortable, from domination sort of porn to porn that I have compared to consensual gang rape. I have walked in on them watching it or have found it in their search history. I, to a degree, understand sexual fantasies, but some of these things made me feel very uncomfortable and made me question a lot of things. Not my words, the words of a 20-year-old Australian woman quoted in an Our Watch background paper on pornography and its contribution to domestic violence. And her voice is typical. It is not unusual. Researchers all agree about the link between pornography and domestic violence. The National Plan to End Violence Against Women and Children 2022 to 2032 identifies violent pornography as one of the drivers of domestic and family violence. But so far, this issue appears to have been at the end of the list, perhaps because we are not aware of the reach and the nature of porn and its availability in the 21st century. Our young people are not being exposed to Playboy bunnies or penthouse pets. They are being exposed to violent and misogynistic pornography in graphic images on the computers in their bedrooms and on the phones in their hands. And this exposure, according to the research in Australia, is generally occurring 2 years before their first actual live sexual experience. Their ideas about intimacy, their ideas about relationships between men and women are being formed by the violent fantasies of the pornography makers rather than their experiences of one another. Our children look to the world around them to learn how to behave. And what are they learning? That aggressive and violent sexual acts towards women are not just acceptable, but they are the norm. We know that young men who consume pornography are almost 50% more likely to engage in sexual activity that their sexual partner does not want. We know that frequent consumption of pornography is correlated with higher levels of verbal and physical aggression. We know that to change attitudes, this must stop. This motion points to the need to listen to the lived experience of those who have suffered domestic violence. A survey conducted in 2004 in Washington State of nearly 300 survivors of domestic abuse found that nearly 40% of their abusers were frequent consumers of pornography. Women are telling us what some of the issues are. We are putting these issues on our lists, but we are leaving them at the bottom of the list. At the very least, we should be clamouring for age verification so that the ideas of our young men and, importantly, our young women are not being formed by this violent pornography. I do not want my daughters or any young women to grow up to believe that they should accept violence from a man, that this is normative in a relationship, because it is not. And we do not want their attitudes being formed by these ideas. Researcher Marie Crabb notes, porn makes an emphatic and substantial contribution to an insidious kind of cultural wallpaper that normalises and indeed eroticises violence against women. It's time to redecorate. The wallpaper of disrespect and violence has to go.